you very much. Just for little bits. I'm not a magician, sorry. Angus, no threat there, don't worry. But I do have a few props. So, before we start, as I mentioned earlier, if you do get a chance, I don't mind you doing it now, or before you leave, do write down your ideal connection or introduction on one of those stickers, whack it on a business card, making sure I can still see your contact details on the other side, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. So, I am a little bit embarrassed to say that I'm a bit of a network floozy, a hussy if you will. And assuming, although, yeah, it's because you called me in the fire, yeah, that's why you thrown me out already. And I've visited probably 50 plus groups and over 200 events over the last 2 to 3 years. Really am a floozy. And I'm assuming, and I know, that for most of you, this isn't your first rodeo either. So a quick show of hands to say, have you ever at an event been caught chatting in conversation with a pretty bad networker? But on the other hand, have you met and been introduced to people you would consider a pretty good, successful networker? Okay, so it's safe to assume then that there is a scale from bad to good, successful networkers. Is that fair to say? Great, I can carry on my talk then, Steve. So, I've come with some items that I've mainly stole from the children in my house that will help me demonstrate what I believe to make a powerful and successful networker. And by the end, if nothing else, we will have learned how to use these networking chopsticks. So, first item. Let's quickly qualify what we believe as a successful and powerful networker. Ideally, we would love to all become both. So I guess it depends how you define your goal in networking. From hearing you earlier, some of these came up, and from my general experiences, it tends to be awareness, visibility, connections, and leads. As we dig deeper and ask ourselves, but why for each of those, eventually I believe that when it comes down to it, most people would ultimately say that they network to generate more sales, which is great, that's fine. So now we can say that's something measurable. We can know what is successful because we can measure the sales that come in from the networking we do. But powerful networking, well, I believe that's more about impact. So think again to your networker, your good networker. Do you remember what they do? Do you remember how they made you feel when you spoke with them or they spoke in the room? Especially compared to the bad networker as well. So is that not pretty powerful, the fact that you still remember them, right? So to be powerful and successful, we need to be both impacting enough to be remembered, but also build enough authority, know, like and trust, to ultimately give us leads that generate into new paying customers. Now, I don't know exactly how they made you think about them as a good networker, but let's see if they align their strategy with some of the things that I believe make some ingredients to make the magic of powerful and successful networking. So, I've lost it. There we go. Crystal clear. I know this is purple, it was the best I could do. But crystal clear messaging, not only of your offering, but also of who you serve. Who is your audience? Make sure that it is crystal clear when we're networking. 2, an equally good service or product to back it up. 3, advocates and champions for your business outside of your organisation, effectively your network, right? And 4, the fourth ingredient, a seamless connect, convince, convert process. A prospecting journey once you have those leads. But the magic really happens, in my opinion, when you stop fishing for customers when you're out networking, but instead you seek nets. You're not looking for the fish or the whales, you're looking for the nets. Pretty obvious reasons, networking. So remember that old saying, give a business a fish and it can pay the bills for a day. Give a business a network, billionaires. Okay, something like that, I can't remember. It was a saying like that, wasn't there? Give a person a fish, etc. Anyway, so the strategy, if your strategy is out just about fishing, just about trying to find those clients and leads and customers, then you're going to run out of fish in that small pool or pond very quickly. But if you go out looking for nets and you build a network of nets, you're never going to run out of bringing in more fish, big juicy clients. So, crystal clear messaging. How can we make that, spot on? Well, let's be honest. No one really cares what you do or how you do it. They care about what you make them feel, what's in it for them when you talk about clients and potentially your nets and network as well. So when you're out networking, aim to enlighten the room so they would be a hero for introducing your product, your service, your business to them, for those that they meet who are in need of that offering or service or support. If your network are going to easily pull in the type of fish that you're after, your red hot leads, the benefits of your offering and who you serve need to be crystal clear. So 2 is service. Well, I'm going to have to trust that you guys have the right mindset to serve the audience and the clients that you have. It's not like else I can help you on that one. But number 3 is the creating the advocates and building your networks, the champion of your business. So how do we get to others to become your nets? Pick that up again, so important. Well, ask yourselves, when would you feel compelled to do something for somebody else? When do you really feel compelled to do something for somebody else? Well, is it when they're pitching and selling and saying how wonderful they are? Let's be honest about it, probably not. Is it, or could it be, when they demonstrate that they care about you and your goals, genuinely care? So, being curious and showing genuine interest in what they do. Sometimes that might be referring into them before, or making a connection before expecting any referrals or connections yourself. Sometimes it's just doing a little bit more. Instead of just giving a simple lazy like on social media post, actually make the effort to leave a small comment, start and discuss that conversation, help build up their awareness online. It could be just as simple as being open and honest in a one-to-one, showing your vulnerabilities, but also and the mistakes you've made, sharing that with them, being human with them, but also sharing the success and the ways in which you've had successes or seen yourself or other businesses make success. Be open and honest with them. So, whatever you do, make sure you build goodwill with those that would make great partners or great nets for you and your business. Something I've done for a couple of clients of mine is what I call posting a friendly focus group, something for you guys to think about and maybe take away yourselves. We invited a select group of individuals that work within or to certain sectors or their target sector, treating them to a little something. The cocktails making with a local mixologist was a fun one. And whilst we were together with them, treating them to a little something, we asked them about the challenges in the sector. We asked them how my clients' services may be a benefit to those in the sector. And then we also asked, did they have partners already? Did they work with partners already? How did it work? And how could their partners, if they did have any, how could it be made easier for them to work with their partners, share and broadcast their partners' businesses and services? And that brings on to the last point, the process. Okay, that connect, convince, convert, prospect journey, pulling in your nets. Because remember, your networks are your nets, not your fishermen. You have to still be the fisherman. So you should monitor the quality of fish or leads that are coming in from your nets to ensure that your contacts don't slip into becoming what I would class as confetti referrals. It's kind of, I think that's all right, we'll throw it. Oh, you've got a computer, see him about IT. Let's make sure they're qualified. And that often happens when your network doesn't have clarity on what you offer and exactly the target audience and the people that you would serve best. So, how can we make it easier for them to remember all that though? We can't be too harsh on our nets, we appreciate any lead anyway. So how can we make it easier for them? Well, it's a bit much to ask them to go around with your marketing material and your business cards everywhere, even though Steve does a great job of doing that, by the way. Thank you very much, Steve. But for me, it is tricky, isn't it? You know, to ask them to do that. So, I guess in the ideal world, once they've identified that there's a potential prospect for you and your service, it'd be great if they could pull out a mini you, Steve, this is you, pull out a mini you, land you on the table, and let you do the pitch for yourself. We can't really take a mini Steve because it looks a bit like you, but it's not quite, around with you. So, but then I thought, actually, we could, couldn't we, if we think about it? So how? These things. We all take these around with us. We all have business and potentially pleasure phones as well. But it fits right in your pocket. So what if on your phone or as an asset, you gave your network that intro video, that pitch that you have perfected because you've recorded it, that trailer of what your business has to offer, and you aid and you give that to the people that are advocates for your business already. But you now make it easier for them to tell you, the people they meet, about your business. You get to pitch to them without being in the room. Your network, your advocate doesn't have to mess up or remember everything. They can pass it on straight away. It's going to be perfect every time because you've taken the time to record it. And for your prospect that's being introduced, they're now being empowered. They're being informed fully and reducing the chance of it being a hopeful referral rather than a red hot referral. So what if you could do that in return for them as well? What if the businesses that you aspire, admire, support already anyway, great example earlier in the room in the pictures, if you had something to introduce, rather than just describe it to them, you could show people, here's a little bit more about this business. Here's a little bit more about business. Trust me, they're fantastic, but don't just take my word for it. Look and qualify yourself. That is going to lead to a real big whale in the net. That's going to lead to a red hot referral rather than a hopeful one. And for me, that's what has made powerful and successful networkers, is their attitude to help fill nets for others and the mindset of finding other nets for themselves, but making it easier for their network to introduce. And then once they are introduced, they have a seamless process to convince and convert those leads. So, in summary, crystal clear on the offer and audience. Seek nets, not fish, when you network. Be curious and kind to your closest connections and make it real easy for them. Why not? They're out there for you anyway. Why not make it easy for them as possible? So your call to actions, if you want, is perfect that what's in it for them pitch and getting that clarity. Do a little more where you can to develop goodwill for your ideal strategic partners. Produce and share your trailer video with them. And finally, don't forget, fill out your ideal connection, because I love introducing and connecting people to others. And I've tried to do that with a few people in the room already today, and I'd love to do it for more of you. So if you can write down your ideal connection or introduction, then someone else or myself, I would love to try and build that goodwill with you myself. So final things, because I know you've all been thinking from the start, what the hell is it about chopsticks? So final thought is about the chopsticks. It's a parable of the 6-foot chopsticks. Heard of it? Okay. Well, in this Chinese tale, it is suggested that heaven and hell are exactly alike. There's an elegant banquet hall with tables 8 foot wide and a mile long. And on those tables are laid out the finest cuisines, as we've enjoyed this afternoon. But the chopsticks provided are 6 feet long. Now, in hell, independently minded guests can't feed themselves with the 6 foot long chopsticks. They're too long, and so they starve in agony. In heaven, the interdependent guests use the 6 foot chopsticks to feed each other across the table, and therefore all are contented.